Glad to have you join us. You're still watching Newsnight on Arise News with me, Ndi Amogo. Former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, who instituted the court case that stopped the Ibadan convention, joins us live to speak more on that particular issue. Glad to have you join us.
Thank you, indeed. Good evening.
Good evening to you. Now that the convention held in spite of your court action, what next?
If you say the convention held, it means you are also not being law-abiding.
Well, the convention is holding.
And they are questioning the... No. A gathering, if there is a convention, is something defined under law, our regulations and our tradition, and under the general constitution. And since there's been a court order restraining the convention holding, therefore it cannot be a convention. So if you say it's a convention, you can be sued for contempt of court.
But there's another court order that says the convention can go on, and then the fact that the PDP said with the Supreme Court judgment that courts are not allowed to interfere in the affairs of political parties, so no court can stop them from holding their convention, and they went on.
You see, interests are very free to interpret the law, to give it their own interpretation based on their own interest. But then the question is, we are talking about the injunction from Ibadan. Mine was given on Friday by 3 o'clock, which is the latest, and is the final order given. And the order has been served on INEC, it has been also served on PDP. They are aware of this. And therefore, if you say they are holding a convention, you are also you can be held for contempt of the judgment passed.
Well, now, Bode George, I'm sure you listened to him a while ago. He says you totally misunderstood the nomination process of the party and did not follow clearly laid down procedures.
Fine. I watched him. I felt highly entertained by his own presentation. Now, I understand where he's coming from. One, he's a military man. He has no idea how PDP was formed in 1998. He has no idea the philosophy behind the formation of PDP, the thinking, the vision of the PDP, and the dream of the PDP. He had no idea how we formed the party. He was only brought on board by Obasanjo. So you can understand that. Number two, he's not gone through fully the metamorphosis of moving from a military man to a civilian. Therefore, he's still a para-civilian, not a real civilian. He's still a para-civilian. Therefore, you can understand his mentality. Three, when you're talking about time frame of a convention, a time frame given, you don't talk about going through the party, exhausting the party provision, because there's a tiny element given there. Therefore, you see, I can understand what you're saying, but then again, you see, he was the very person who led Wike into rebellion. He was the very man who led Wike into rebellion. And so when he's talking, I begin to wonder, I think kind of leader will have in that place. And I feel entertained. He's still a para-civilian. He's not idea what you call your party tradition, party culture, and how civilians behave and how we do our thing. He doesn't know. So you can excuse him for that.
All right. Now that you have mentioned Wike, interestingly, Bode George, on the floor of the convention, was the one who moved the motion, seconded by Buga, chairman of Bauchi State PDP. He moved the motion for the suspension from your party, along with some others like former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayoshe. What do you make of that? Well, those are the people that have been suspended from your party. Wike is number one there, the FCT minister, who says what they have done, that the convention holding, he calls it a disco party. And Bode George agreed with him and said, yes, that's what this is about. It's about festivities. So what do you make of the suspension?
That group which has been suspended, was led by Bode George. He was their political leader. He was their elder. Therefore, there are his own people who, I don't know how. He was the very person who got them, who tried to kind of, goad them into rebellion from the party. He was their leader. He was equally rebellious. I was doing antipathy with them. Now, ironically, he's now coming around to renounce the very thing he invented. I feel, I mean, consider the kind of person he is. He's still not yet, a full civilian. He's a para-civilian. So you can understand his reasoning, which is very myopic, which has no connectivity in terms of what he did yesterday. I can understand that. So please leave it. But, the group he sacked, his own group. Those sacked, are his own boys whom he led into rebellion. So what's the problem? He should also be sacked because that was. Because he was their leader.
Yeah. Now you're talking about George and leading a group, but what do you make of the suspension? Now, because Wike, the FCT, has been what you could call an albatross to PDP. So now that he's been expelled along with people like Fayoshe, like I mentioned, what do you make of that? Let's just leave Bode George out. What do you make of that particular action?
You see, PDP is a party of law and order. PDP is a party which is populated by people who are very responsible, who are law-abiding. The gathering in Ibadan is not a convention which is legal. Therefore, anything they have done there is just a null and void. Whatever they did there, because that convention there is not and void. The gathering there is illegal. They are only there to entertain themselves, and maybe ego curse themselves. Otherwise, they have no bearing there. Therefore, the meeting in Port Harcourt, authority in Ibadan, is simply a gathering of friends, for entertainment. In terms of legality, they have no legal standing. In terms of legality.
All right. So, I don't know whether I got you particularly, just a little bit of a rewind. Now that the convention went on in some quarters, the talk is that PDP is finally rising up to the occasion with the holding of this convention. And of course, the fact that you went to court. I mean, Bode George even said there are ways to handle matters. People should not go to court. So what do you intend doing? What do you intend?
Leave Bode alone, please. I know PDP better than him.
Okay, so I'm talking about you.
I know PDP better than Bode George.
I'm talking about you.
Okay, fine.
So
now,
so
you see, to me,
yeah. What do
this
you?
Conversation.
So what are you?
To me, this conversation. Let me talk to you. See, to me, this conversation about PDP, its own future, to me, is so daunting because it's a party I so much love. It's a party which I so much believed in. It's a party which I feel gave me everything in my life because it gave me space to grow in Nigeria, to be a Nigerian governor, a Nigerian minister. So I owe PDP a lot. And I feel terribly sad that the party has been hijacked by a leadership which is which I with all respect, which I think is a little bit infantile. Leaders who have no vision, leaders who don't understand what is called party chemistry and how to manage political party management, how to manage the party. It's an institution. So all this we are doing is simply because they are simply hastening the demise of PDP. That's why that convention there was a submission made by the BOT chairman and Saraki about a way forward. But then what they are doing there now is compounding a problem because anything done in that place is illegal. And my pain is that the very party I so much is now being taken over by immigrants, so to say, because they're all immigrants. Boris is an immigrant. He has no idea what to call PDP. He has immigrant PDP. Bala and the other are all immigrants. So these immigrants have taken over the party because to them, they don't care what it goes to blazes. To me, if the party is hurt, I feel pain. If the party is failing, I feel very sad because that is part of me. It's something which I so much believe in, which gave me. So those who are there now have no idea the pain went through. The pain went through, the sacrifice we made in building the party for them to be able to be what they are now. And in any case, what is the essence of leadership is to be able to manage crisis. Sit down, reflect, and see how do we get out of crisis. Your political skill, your sagacity, that's the kind of thing you do. But when you go there and become so desperate, and you begin to indulge in self-help, and you become very panicky, then you compound the problem. The entire thing there is simply a panic event. They are so desperate, they are so panicky. So anything they do is out of panic. There is nothing like hope behind it, nothing like understanding, nothing like rationality behind it, nothing like sober mind, reflecting. Oh, if I do this, what will be the consequence of this issue if I do this? Everything they do there is compounding a problem. They should be more circumspect in doing what they are doing now.
All right. So before I begin to let you go, let's, for purposes of moving forward, let's assume that eventually, the convention is holding, has held, and everything turns out okay. Will you still remain in the party? Would you leave the party?
Let me correct you. Let me please correct you. You know, convention is organized under defined rules and regulations. That is not a convention because the convention has been challenged in court. Get this very, very clear. Number two, there is no amount of humiliation. There is no amount of harassment or anger which make you leave PDP. Because how do I crawl out of my own skin and go somewhere, in flesh and blood? I can't do that. PDP is my party, and I believe that there's still hope. Should be able to come back. All of us, whoever is, all those who have been agreed for, look at Nigeria. The bigger picture called Nigeria and the future of Nigeria. What are the issues? Let us make sacrifice. Let's learn to be more tolerant of each other. Let's learn to forgive each other. Let's come together. And then the very party which built Nigeria in the last 25 years. I mean, from 1999 to date, if you remove the PDP component in Nigeria, there's no Nigeria. It was the people able to restore Nigeria, get the country stabilized, for people not to be talking. So, to me, it's not, it's not late. You should be able to come back, sit down as leader. All those who have been angry, those who felt that whatever community, we should forgive each other. We should forgive each other, and then repose trust and confidence in each other. And then what was make sure they know that the family, once united, is now recollected to our old glory. And that we can do because if we put, if we are tolerant, if we can make sacrifice, if we are more patient with each other, if we are forgiving, we can get there. All right. It's not difficult.
All right.
And for the sake of the big picture of Nigeria.
I love the statement you just made, and I will leave you with that before I let you go, Your Excellency, before I let you go. And the fact you're talking about reconciliation, one would have thought that being an elder statesman, former governor, and a PDP stalwart, founding member as it were, that you probably would have called everybody together. Let's settle this and not go to court. Wouldn't that have been better?
In the last 1 year, I've called so many meetings, in David Mark's house, in Tanimu's house, in his office. I've called so many meetings that, look, this party, they were going, please, in the last 2 years, to date, we've lost how many governors? How many parliamentarians? The party is losing by the minute, and yet people don't even care. What is the purpose of a political party? Is to win election. Now, from there we are going, Nigeria can easily lose. If we lost the confidence of Nigeria because they don't believe, because they see PDP don't have the capacity to be able to resolve this own problem. If you cannot, within your own home, get us to organize. How do you go out and fight APC? That's the problem. So I feel that we'll do all we can, to come. One, we should be more forgiving. We should be more tolerant. We should make sacrifice. We should try and consider, for the sake of the PDP and for others who are going to come in the future and also be governors, ministers, and whatever. That's my feeling.
All right. One will hope that will start with you, being an elder statesman, by probably, I'll probably say getting out of the court. But that's by the way. Thank you so much, former Governor of Jigawa State. Nice always talking with you, discussing with you.
Thank you. Thank you, our Larry King. Thank you, indeed.
Thank you so much.